How's it going, guys? My name is Perry Yee. I'm a former United States Navy SEAL. I'm out here today in Sweetwater, Texas with Hardhead Veterans, and today we're going to be talking about helmets, night vision, first time buying, and first time use. All right, let's talk about a couple different options we have as far as night vision goes. We're going to go over the single tube and the dual tubes. There's going to be differences as far as the weight, the price, the function, the application, and what it comes down to is, what's best for you. What are you going to be using it for? What's your budget? And what your personal preference is. There's many different uses on the civilian side as far as night vision goes. Whether you're hunting, you're boating, you're a PI, it's great for surveillance work. In today's climate, it's great for home defense use, but most importantly, because here in America, we're allowed to have it, and so I think that's a big enough reason, so I think they should be in everyone's home. All right, so let's cover some of the differences. As far as weight goes, you're gonna be looking at about 10.8 ounces for a single tube, as opposed to 19.8 for the dual tubes. Not a huge difference, a little less than double, but still something to consider when you're thinking about what's going to be mounted on your head. A couple differences in function. One being the obvious, where you have one eye versus two looking through the tubes, but also how you're going to operate with them. If you're using a solo tube where you have one eye covered and you're looking through night vision, your other eye is going to have its natural night vision. That can be beneficial in certain circumstances where, for instance, if you're in a CQB environment where you happen to be clearing through dark rooms and you move into somewhere that has a little bit more lighting, it'll be quicker for you to acquire your optic in a brighter room than having to flip up your night vision and acquire it that way. Also, if you happen to be on a patrol and you are out in what you think is the dark, but you can't see the natural lighting conditions shift, if you have a monotube on, your naked eye would be able to see those change in light conditions. A couple cons to this though is if you are using a solo tube and you have that two different side pictures going on, your brain is going to have to work a little bit harder, and you're going to get more strain, and you're also you're going to have a harder time acquiring the proper depth perception with the night vision than you would if you're using dual tubes. Now the pros of dual tubes is you're going to have the same side picture with both eyes, so you're going to have a better ability to have that proper depth perception, as well as you're not going to have that strain that you do with the mono where your eyes are fighting two different side pictures. What's great about the duals as well for certain models is if you are using the dual tubes, you can always rotate one up and you can act as if you have a solo tube, and then you're still able to have the capabilities of both. All right, a couple basic checks. Once you receive your first pair, go ahead and take them out of the case. And make sure to do just a physical once over, making sure there's no cracks in the tubes, cracks in the lenses. Also, you can go ahead and toss in a battery and make sure that all of the functions are working properly as well. After that, you can go ahead and take a look through, and you want to be checking for blemishes. So any type of black lines or dots. How you can do that is you can actually look through on a plain white wall inside your house, and there's going to be some normal blemishes that are going to be in there, and things that you wouldn't see if you're outside actually looking through, but you want to make sure that it is usable and that there's nothing there that's going to really impact your vision, and also make sure that it's focusing properly. All right, let's get it set up for your helmet. We're going to start with the dual tubes. We already have our Wilcox mount on our helmet, so we're going to go ahead and attach it by just sliding that flat end there, wait for that click. Now there's three different adjustments you can make. First, you can adjust the height of the mount just to make sure that obviously it covers your eyes properly. Also, these two buttons on the side here will adjust the eye relief, so you can have it as close or far away from your eyes as you need it. This is reliable, especially when you have any type of eye protection that you plan on wearing behind your night vision. And then lastly, this knob here is going to control the angle of your night vision. All right, now let's move on to the mono. So we have our Nortos mount already mounted on the helmet, and then we have the J-arm that's already connected to the unit as well. So we're gonna go ahead and slide those two together, wait for that click. And just like the Wilcox, we have the same three adjustments. As far as you can adjust the height, make sure you get that proper fit there. And with this knob, you can adjust the eye relief, so getting it closer or further away from your eyes. And then lastly, this knob here controls the angle of device. All right, let's talk about storage. So you want to store your unit with all of the lens covers back on. One thing to note is you don't want to leave the lens caps off and have the lenses exposed to any type of light for a long period of time, which can cause burns inside the lenses. So we're going to go ahead and put them back in our case. And then you want to be able to store these inside your safe, somewhere inside your house. You want to avoid any excessive heat or cold, like your garage or anything like that. And then, you spend a lot of money on these. You want to keep them as high quality and protected as possible. All right, what's up guys? We are out here on the range. We are gonna be going over first time night vision use. I have my two friends with me. I have Nate from Heart of Veterans, who's one of the plant technicians, and we have Jordan, who runs TJB Outdoors, a local gun shop here in Sweetwater, Texas. All right, so neither of these guys have been under night vision before, correct?
Correct.
Perfect. All right, we're gonna get them fitted up and put them through a small little first time course and hopefully have some fun with it. All right, so basic functionality as far as getting it fitted out. Obviously, we have two different sets here. You have the PPS 14s and we have the 31s here. But functionality is going to be basically the same as far as actually getting it fitted. All right, so go ahead. We're going to drop them down here, and we are going to go turn them on. Should make sure you guys are set.
Cover
take the cap off there. Good to go. You should be able to see the berm out there in front of you. Now go ahead and make the adjustments accordingly. All right, Jordan, for you, since you got the dual tubes, what you're gonna do is you're gonna adjust one tube at a time. So you're gonna go ahead and close one eye, and on the opposite tube, you're gonna come up, reach here up front, and you're gonna have the focus nozzle right there in front. So you want the targets there in the berm to be in focus. All right, so once you look downrange here, and then you're just gonna grab come here into the front tube. So come here over to the front, and you shed your focus lens there.
Oh, okay.
So go ahead and close your right eye. Perfect. All right, so now we're all fitted in, we're all sighted in. We're gonna go ahead and go on a little stroll. Cody, hit the lights. All right, so even with the dual tubes versus the single tube, we're all gonna have the same field of view. It's a 40-degree field of view. So just because we have two tubes doesn't mean that we have a wider spread of view. So one of the big differences with the single tubes is with your naked eye, you're gonna develop the eye's natural night vision. So over time, tonight while we're out here, your eyes should automatically start to adjust. You might feel a little bit of strain just because your brain is working two different things, right? You're trying to see out the night vision, focus with one eye, and then you have what your naked eye is doing as well. Some of the positives to that though is not so much tonight because there's really no natural light happening tonight. But if we were going to be out here, like in a patrol situation or something like that, with your naked eye, you can see more of light shifts or things that are changing, which as opposed to we can't with the dual tube. Especially for me, I have the cups on, so I can't really see anything out of my peripherals. So if we were going to be out on a patrol and we happen to be, there's a lot of like moonlight, and we happen to be walking across a light surface, you'd be able to more be or have more awareness of, if we're going to be backlit or more silhouetted against a lighter surface, if that makes sense. So, where you're on dual tubes, you can't really see the shift in light, and so you might think you're under the cover of darkness, but in reality, you could have a bright moon out, you could be, projecting your entire patrol to people watching. All right, you guys ready to go for a walk?
Let's go.
All right, with the dual tubes, you'll have a little easier time getting your depth perception down. But looking down, obviously you can see that everything close to you is going to be blurry just because we focused in on something a little further away. I don't even know where you are. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just kind of take a walk and just start getting a feel for what it's like stepping over things, stepping around things, and just getting your proper balance and footing. As you're walking too, try to keep a good heel to toe movement so that you're not stepping over things, slamming down, and making a lot more noise. All right, so since with the night vision devices, they're made to amplify the light around you, right? The more darker it is, the less light that's gonna come in, the more grainy your field of view is gonna be. So just introducing even a little light source, and you'll be able to see like how much more clear you can see through. So, and this will be, we'll talk about this later once we start shooting on how important it is to have IR lights and lasers to your rifles and pistols. So also imagine being on a patrol with, 20 other guys and consistently having to, check your field of fire. You're consistently turning around, looking at the guys behind you. You're giving signals, receiving signals. All right, we're gonna dip out here to the left. We're gonna go down the little hill and we're gonna walk back up out on the range side. So here, just be careful as you're going up and over the little bushes, but also see that you're going downhill. So try not to roll anything. All right, after going through a little stroll, we're just gonna go ahead and get online and do some dry fire practice and just get used to under night vision, being able to present your weapon, being able to hit your light and laser, coming off safe, doing all the, the basic procedures, but under night vision. Sound good? All right, let's do it. Everybody dry? Yeah, we don't even need mags right now at this point. Check, clear and safe. All right, so obviously we can't see the targets right now because it's dark, but how this is gonna work is we'll do a couple iterations from a high ready and then we'll switch to a low ready as well. But we're just gonna get in our shooting stance from a high ready position. And we're just gonna work on the function of presenting the weapon, hitting it shouldered, hitting the safety, hitting your IR laser on target, and then we're just gonna get back. Sound good? Easy day? All right, so all together now. All right, from the high ready, go ahead, present. You do nice and slow. Get your safe off. At the same time, you're using your pressure pad to laser your target. And we're gonna go back to safe, go back to the high ready. A couple more times. And present. All right. Now you go ahead and speed it up at your own speed there. And present. Now keep in mind, once we get on night vision, we'd be used to shouldering our rifle, looking through our optic. So under night vision, we're gonna have the buttstock a little bit lower in the shoulder so that you're gonna be looking over your optic, right? You wanna be able to see your target over the optic and make sure you see your laser on the target. But you don't wanna be obviously cheek well down trying to look through your optic. There are some optics out there that have like night vision modes where you can actually shoulder your weapon and look through. It's a little difficult, especially if you have something lower. If you had yours might be okay, but something like this where it's super low and you have to really get your face down. Obviously not the most ideal situation, but it's possible. All right, let's switch down to the low ready. So from the low ready, you can have your weapon already shouldered and you're just gonna come up, same thing, hit the safety, hit the pressure pad, get the laser on the target, and they're gonna drop down. Sound good? All right, go ahead and present. And present. All right, let's go ahead and kill the lights, and we'll run through the same drills on night vision. All right, so when we're presenting to the target here, so let's say we're starting from the high ready, and you guys just hold off for a second. So when I go to present, and you have the momentary laser, right? You want to be able to have that thing off as quickly as possible. So you want to present, get on target, take your shot if need be, and then you don't want to be projecting that laser, to the rest of the world there. So, all right, so mag changes. So obviously this is a skill that you got to practice over and over again. You've probably done it thousands of times during the day out on the range. It's obviously going to be a lot harder under night vision because you can't see your mag well, right? Everything's blurry because we're all focusing from down here. But even if we were to focus as close as we could with these devices, you'd only be getting, 9, almost 10 inches out in front of you. So even when your rifle's here, you're not going to be able to see your mag well in focus. So this has to be done through just the muscle memory of getting good reps down, good training down. But while we're here, we're going to go ahead and get some of those reps in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start at the high ready, and same drill where we're gonna present safe, and we're gonna hit the pressure pad here. And now from here, instead of once we break down, you're gonna break down back into your reload position here. All right, so however you normally reload when you're out and doing your training, stick to what you know. Stick to how you've built that muscle memory. We're gonna present, come out. Good, you can go ahead and hit the magazine release to simulate mag dropping. And you go ahead and reach for your new mag, pop it in, and then get back on target. And from there, we'll do the same thing. Come out, drop the mag, pop that new mag in, back on target. Sound good? All right, this will be on you guys. So go as slow as you need to or as quick as you want to, but just focus on getting good reps, all right? So again, present, come back, drop that mag, grab a new one, and just end with the present as well. All right, on you. All right, so basic principles when shooting under night vision, the same rules apply as if you're shooting during the day. You need to practice as much as you can, if not more, under night vision. You want to get comfortable with your gear, get comfortable with your movements, and you really utilize that crawl, walk, run procedure where start slow. You start slow, move at your own pace, and just like any other sport or skill, you have to practice. You're not going to get down the first time. So especially when you have really expensive gear in your head, make sure that you guys are training hard, training often, and doing it at your pace. And when you're ready, get after it. All right, we're here in the war room over at the Hard Hat Veterans facility. I'm with Josh from Hard Hat Veterans, and we're just going to go over some essential gear while being under night vision, starting from headgear.
Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's really up to the end user on what kind of helmet they need. If you're in an environment where the biggest thing you're worried about is a rock hitting you in the head, go with a bump helmet. If you're on a budget, go with a bump helmet. If you're looking at home defense situations, or you're going to be deploying operationally, or you're law enforcement, and you're getting night vision for that, I would go ahead and look at the ballistic protection, because it's worth having.
Always good to have options.
Yep.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some different accessories and gear you have here. We have the IFF markers, which is friend or foe identification. So any of your IR patches, strobes, things like that we'll kind of cover here. One thing we don't have, very basic, but chem lights. We would roll around with IR chem lights, which you can also use that have green, red, whatever color. I mean, there's a whole rainbow spectrum, I believe. But we would use those in CQB situations, or if we were clearing rooms, we'd go ahead and crack like a green chem light, put it in the room so the rest of the team knows that you guys have already been there. But also there's the IR version, so where you can, if you're clearing on nods, you can go ahead and crack one of those, leave one at the door. There's many other uses for it, but there's also things like the IR patches. So like you can see the top of the helmet here, just small little square patches. You can use patches, or I think we would use like lint tape when we were overseas.
Yeah, we had glint tape that we wore on our shoulder pockets when I was in the Marines.
Nice and simple. Then moving up the line, you have things like the V light there, which is, I believe this is a solid light, right?
Right. These are just a solid light.
Right.
SS Precision makes these. Those guys are actually out in your dam neck, I think. I'm not positive on that, so don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure those guys are out of Virginia. So they're good dudes.
So those are good because they're soft. They contour right to the helmet. They're good for canines as well. I mean, we'd always have our handlers would have them on the dog collars. Great way to keep an eye on your dog there. Then you can move on to strobes. So here, this is the Hellstar 6 from Core Survival. Something like this has both Viz and IR capabilities. For instance, here you have a blinking green, blinking red. So depending on position in the stack, or you might have your team lead running different colors, or even on the range. If you're instructing the range, you can mark, you're the instructor, you can mark different colors on students.
We actually, we use our V-lights a lot for that,
Yeah.
for safety reasons. So we have orange ones if we have RSOs and we're going to
Right.
be doing something with the community. We have a lot of less experienced shooters. We'll bring out the orange ones and we'll mark our range safety officers with them, so that we know, where like Cody and I, as camera guys, we know where
Right.
range safety people are. And I think that's something that's important with IFF, is your situation is always going to dictate, what's what, who's who, and that's usually something that's going to be briefed out ahead of time in some
Right.
sort of mission brief, because it's going to vary from operation to operation.
I've even seen the V-lights on like med bags. So out in the range, just so everyone knows, hey, the red light over here in the corner is the med bag, just in case things go south. But also, strobes like this can be programmable. So I believe there's a unit you can get, or you can just get it directly from Core Survival. But you can program multiple different colors, different patterns. Like this switch up here is your switch that's going to turn vis light into IR. So I believe this is a blinking strobe, which obviously we can't see right now. And then you have the solid IR as well. All right, moving on to things like extra batteries, right? Pretty much everything you see here, all electronics, right? Unfortunately, there are things that we have to rely on. They're all life-saving devices too. So, unfortunately, batteries die, technology dies. So, talking about being able to carry extra batteries on you, and batteries are small, they're pretty lightweight, but obviously if you're overseas, every little piece of weight adds up. So, talk about some of the ways that you can store batteries on your person and your gear.
Yeah, so when we're talking about helmets specifically, I think the counterweight pouch is probably one of the easiest ways, especially when dealing with night vision. Something like this is going to come in handy now. So I know with us and with all of our, all the other manufacturers that are out there making these that are worth their salt, they're going to ship these with the weights in them. And depending on what kind of night vision you've got, whether it's a dual tube, a mono tube, or you've got a small truck, and you decided to attach that truck to the front of your head in the form of quad tubes, you can adjust these weights so that it's a proper balance on the helmet. And if you take these out, this is actually kind of a stretchable nylon, and you can use these as a method of storing extra CR123 batteries or AA's, AAA's, whatever kind of batteries you need for whatever equipment you're carrying.
Important note: make sure you know what type of batteries your gear requires. They're all going to be different, so make sure you have all the right batteries for all the right pieces of equipment.
So I know there's a lot of different options with night vision out there. Some of the more high-end versions, or even some of the older versions that aren't quite as robust as the brand new systems that are running off of one AA very efficiently, you'll get a battery pack with that system, and you can actually mount it to the hook and loop on the back of the helmet, and that will usually operate as its own counterweight as well. Those things are super awesome when you have them, but not always necessary, especially with some of the advances that have happened in night vision over the last probably 3 to 5 years. They've done a lot of work making them lighter and making them more efficient with their power.
And then there's more wires running back and forth.
Right.
That with your comms, obviously you can see everything happening going on here, but something to think about. But again, gives you options. So having things like IR lights and lasers on your firearm is pretty imperative. If you're going to be operating under night vision, whether you're on patrol or you're in a CQB environment, once you're on your night vision, it's a lot harder to acquire reticles if you're going to be using your optics on your rifles. Not so much on your pistol. We can talk about that here in a second. But having things like here, we have the Signer D-ball, and this is a Holosun. We have a IR laser with the floodlight as well, with the pressure pad. So being able to have this type of gear, and now you can have full function of your firearms comfortably, but also having the capabilities to mark your targets without them being able to see any type of visible lights and lasers. And then over here as well, we have a Surefire 300V, which offers you both visible and IR light on your pistol. And then also things like any type of red dot optic. This is the Trijicon RMR. But you can see these pretty well under night vision. We were out on the range last night playing around, and things like that. You're not going to be able to see your iron sights, even if you have some solid night sights. You're just going to see 3 little blurry dots under nods. So having something like this is a pretty big game changer as far as your equipment goes. All right, and lastly, let's talk about storage when you're out in the field. So for us personally, when we were operating during the day, we'd be taking off our night vision. I don't believe we were carrying our actual pouches with them, so they just go in our rucksack. Somewhere somewhat safe, but also important is having the lens caps back on the lenses. Leaving night vision out, exposed to any type of lighting without the caps, even I think with is probably a bad idea, but you can cause burns inside the tubes. So making sure that you're storing them, obviously when you're overseas, you can't really have a nice cool place, but that was my personal experience. I don't know if you have anything different.
So for us, we dominantly used PBS 14s and something called the 17 Charlie, which we don't have here. That's a weapon-mounted night vision system. Specifically, we used it on the M240s and on the squad automatic weapons, the M249 saws. For the most part, we would guys would individually buy like a saw pouch for like an ammo drum, and then you'd have that piece of gear on your kit somewhere, and that would become like a dedicated night vision pouch. And then a lot of guys would then secure that somehow with paracord or something to make sure that it's not going to come open. And that's like a gear storage thing. If we were doing a longer op where we were carrying a ruck, then it was kind of the same thing. We would use the bag that came with, most of the night vision is going to come with a bag, and that bag would become our storage solution. Yeah, we got one off camera. So something like this, they have Molly on the back, but we wouldn't Molly them. We would just, it would become the pouch where the night vision lived inside of our rucksack for the days and weeks that we would be out on longer ops.
Right, take care of your gear and it will take care of you. Pretty simple. All right, guys, well, I hope you got a lot of valuable information out of this video today as far as the different type of night vision goggles, what to do when you're opening your very first pair, and then how to operate when you're using them for the very first time. Remember that crawl, walk, run method. So take your time, go at your own pace, and then lastly, the essential gear and equipment that you're gonna need to be successful. But remember, training is paramount. Thanks again for having me. Once again, my name is Perry Yee. You can go ahead and feel free to follow me in the links below, but also check out ActiveValor.com. Active Valor is my nonprofit I run in San Diego that pairs transitioning veterans as ongoing mentors to Gold Star children. Remember to hit that like on this video, leave your questions, comments, and feedback in the comment section below, and remember to hit that notification bell so you guys get reminded every time Hardhead Veterans releases a new video. All right, appreciate it. Oh, and by the way, this whole video, I was wearing the new ATE light helmet that's made right here in Sweetwater, Texas at the Hardhead Veterans factory. Coming soon, make sure you're on the lookout.